The recent failure of SpaceX's 7th test flight ended in a spectacular display. On the evening of January 16th, debris from the rocket streaked across the Caribbean sky, resembling the tentacles of a jellyfish. However, some experts argue that focusing on this dazzling light show, as many people and media outlets have done, highlights a lack of understanding of the environmental consequences of these spacecraft accidents. Mariba Jah, a professor of aerospace engineering at the University of Texas at Austin, compares this to admiring the beauty of a nuclear mushroom cloud. To be mesmerized by the magic of debris is to not understand what it means, Jah said. This stuff can harm ecosystems. It can affect populations. There is also a more immediate threat, illustrated by this incident, posed by several tons of burning debris falling into the water, and although the probability is low, possibly even onto some unlucky piece of land. The test of Starship, consisting of two parts, the upper stage Starship and the lower stage Super Heavy booster, lasted about 8.5 minutes. During this time, spectators saw the most powerful rocket ever created successfully separate both stages, as well as the impressive capture of the Super Heavy booster by the chopstick mechanism. But shortly after, according to SpaceX, communication with the upper stage was lost. Eventually, bewildered and awestruck people in Turks and Caicos saw their evening sky ablaze with debris from Ship 33. Elon Musk, the billionaire and CEO of SpaceX, suggested that the cause was an oxygen or fuel leak in the cavity above the ship's engine firewall. SpaceX says it is investigating what went wrong, in conjunction with the Federal Aviation Administration, which requires an incident investigation. The flight trajectory began from Boca Chica, Texas, and headed east over the Caribbean Sea. Such space flights issue airspace warnings in advance, but the loss of communication triggered another, more urgent one. A statement from the Federal Aviation Administration said it briefly slowed and diverted aircraft toward the debris field. As a result, flights were delayed, circled in place, or turned back. Some pilots could even see the fireworks from their cockpits. And according to Jah, an aerospace engineering professor, airline passengers are not informed about the risks, even if they are minor. If you and I were on a plane and someone said, "Hey, there's a 1 in 10,000 chance you won't make it," I wouldn't get on the plane, Jah told CBC News from Austin, offering some hypothetical odds. It is assumed that this aircraft crashed over the Atlantic Ocean, and so far there have been no reports of casualties or debris being found. According to Aaron Bowley, an associate professor at the University of British Columbia, there is not even an idea of how these Starship vessels break up into pieces. The scale of the debris field, the number of pieces, the number of lethal debris, that is, how many pieces are falling at a speed capable of causing significant damage, is something that is not very well studied at the moment, says Bowley. Jah agreed, calling simulations terribly bad in terms of being able to predict anything with any meaningful accuracy, and dependent on a hope strategy that the breakup will not lead to damage. Even with the most successful completion of the Starship launch, it was still supposed to fall into the water, but far away in the southern Indian Ocean. The drop zone is a zone of increased danger. It is assumed that in such remote areas the risk to human life is less. However, even planned descents cause disruptions to airlines. Australian airline Qantas said that in recent weeks, repeated SpaceX landing approaches have led to delays when flying over the Indian Ocean. According to Bowley, going down is the least worst option, giving people the opportunity to roughly know where and when debris might fall. But the worst-case scenario for falling debris is uncontrolled explosions, which occurred on January 16th, which is a roll of the dice. You're just assuming that this debris is scattered over a sufficient area, so it's unlikely to hit anyone and cause damage, he said. Due to all this uncertainty, experts say, there is no clear idea of how rocket debris affects the marine environment. In 2016, New Zealand's National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research conducted a study of the potential short-term and long-term danger that rocket debris poses to the inhabitants of nearby oceans. The expert group concluded that 10 launches, successful or not, each of which would result in 40 tons of debris, would still pose a negligible risk. Rocket launches can affect the ozone layer, experts say, but more launches mean more risk. With 100 launches, the risk could be moderate, and with 1,000, they could be high, they warn. Experts say that stopping space flights is not the solution, but at the rate the industry is developing, more attention needs to be paid to calculating the risk to the environment. The U.S. has suspended the operation of SpaceX's giant Starship rocket, pending an investigation into the cause of an explosion of one of the stages during the last test flight. The regulatory body demanded that Elon Musk's company conduct an investigation into the incident, the results of which will decide on the possibility of returning the Starship to flight.